Hello, everybody. This is G. How are you doing? We're going to walk through some more weekly videos, and this one is the setup for second week. So it's the week of February 12th, going on the third week, I guess, technically, of February. Holy crap, February 12th, and change is upon us. So there it is, big and bold. It is the February 12th. This will take us through the next 7 days. And there is some strong energy at play here now. Strong energy. The week before video, I explained how we're in the Aquarius season. And if you look at this chart, well, we'll dip into it and we'll go and we'll look at some dates and we'll talk about some of the main things. We have more planets moving. And we've got a couple of glyphs here that you can see right off the bat. And you might recognize this one as Pluto, right? That's Pluto. And then this one over here, how many of you know what that one is? If you know what that is, put it in the comments below. If you don't know, that's all good. Stick around to find out. And why do I have them up here is the question. But there's more happening than just that. There's quite a few things. So we're going to take a look at this. And remember, if we're talking Aquarius energy, if we're in Aquarius season, one of the key words for Aquarius energy is expect the unexpected. That was 3 keywords. Expect the unexpected. Surprises. Shocks and surprises sometimes, right? So we're going to take a look at that, and it's important to focus on it because there's so many planets that we have, which means a lot of energy. And it's fixed energy. It's fixed air, right? So it's ideas. It's group energy. It's social causes. It's systems, right? Social systems. Think about that. Social systems, but it's global stuff. Aquarius energy. Let's go take a look at some of the dates I have, and then we'll get into the deep dive. Before I get there, let me just say that if you don't have your chart, right? Because when I talk about these things, I'm going to give you the degrees and the signs they're in and the dates. But having your own chart to look at, to like follow along at home, if you have that, you can see what house number these things, these planets, these events, where they are in your life. And the house numbers represent parts of your life. Yep, believe it or not, that's what it is. The 8th house is shared values. That can be shared money. That can be shared feelings and emotions, shared intense, deep stuff that we've been through. Sometimes it's tragic stuff, the 8th house. Sometimes it represents a metaphysical death or a metaphorical death. And sometimes it's an actual physical death. Okay? Inheritances and insurance money, 8th house. You see what I'm saying? So it's important to find out, especially if there's confusion or if you feel hopeless. Many times the uncertainties in life and the, I don't know, just the yuck that we feel like we're in sometimes, having the planets and seeing them and understanding like, this is what this means when it's here. And look, it's angling something of yours. And no wonder you feel this way. No wonder you're going through this. That's the beauty of it. It gives understanding. All right, so we are starting the week off busy. We're going to go right to the 11th. I'm going to start here because I have this written down. And this is the December. This is the February 12th video. So why do I have February 11th written down? Well, because we have in Chiron, the wounds, Chiron, conjunct the North Node. Yep, these are in Aries. They're in Aries and they are conjunct and they stay at the matching degree from February 11th to February 24th. Okay, so the wounds of my body, because it's Chiron and Aries, This can have to do with your appearance, can also have to do with something about your head. It's usually the freedoms of my body, the things that I want to do with my body, right? Do I want to wear my hair short? Do I want to wear my hair long? Do I want to wear my clothing a certain way, right? Is there something I literally want to do with my body or don't want to do with my body? Especially when we think about female issues. Are there certain things I want to do and certain things I don't want to do? And isn't that my civil liberty to do what I want with my body? Conjunct the North Node. North Node is about our future. It is where we're headed, right? It's in Aries. Remember, because they're conjunct, which means they're in this at the same degree in the same sign. All right, so let's go take a peek and find our Aries energy. And there it is. You see them right there at 16 degrees. You see that? Fiery Aries. So let's pretend this is your chart. You would go and look, well, what house is this in? The second house. Every chart should have the houses numbered. I mean, that's just the way it works when you use a tropical Placidus chart system, which is what I use. It's just what works best for me. Second house of values. So this would be somebody who really values their freedom, my independent actions. This is who I am. I do what I want to do, when I want to do it, where I want to do it, how I want to do it. It's my body. You know the rest of the words, right? And so the values and the desires that have to do with my body. Appearances, how I look is a big deal when we talk about Aries energy, okay? And being free, the individuality involved, and something leading. We hear the word lead. I'm going to lead. I'm going to be the leader, right? It can be very spontaneous. It can sometimes be a little bit combative and very impatient. It's known as the child of the zodiac because it's the first sign of all the signs. We start something with Aries energy. We initiate. So with the North Node and Chiron there, wounds of the body. The head possibly involved because Mars energy is all about the head and the body. Could be inflammation. And yes, Mars rules Aries, which is why I said Mars. Okay, so we think actions, we think weapons, people who've been using weapons, and we got a lot of folks in the States who aren't soldiers and who aren't part of an armed force, who are not policemen or police officers, who are not there to keep the peace, who have weapons. And so there could be something going down here as far as, it doesn't have to necessarily mean an increase of these events, although it can, because it's the North Node and Chiron, but I'm hoping it has something to do with possibly some sort of legislation in the States, because it's about the North Node, our future, right? And the rights of our body. And so, yes, the right to bear arms. Yes, you have the right to bear arms. We're not looking to rip away people's arms. The right to bear the arms. It's the difference between using a weapon that you can hold in your hand that can do massive destruction in a very small, short amount of time. That's where we're just like, is that necessary? Do you really need a military grade weapon? Like, I think, yeah, that's a little bit more realistic, you know? So there could be some issues around this. So I've already given a lot of different keywords, looked at it a lot of different ways as to what this could mean. I do know that Aries energy, because it's fire, it trines Sagittarius energy. And that is judicial branch of government. That is the Supreme Court. That is the justices. So rulings possibly having to do with some of these hot items that I have mentioned. Hot items for sure. The freedoms of the body, the freedom of religion from our government, the right to bear arms. Yet, holy crap, what happens when we got people who are just blowing away people for no reason, or they have reasons, but it's clearly insane to have major weapons like that in the arms of those who may have something wrong with their head. There's something not quite right there, right? So there could be a little bit of that going on. And so that was the February 11th to the 24th. So remember, Mars is the military. So anytime you see Aries, we think military. We think someone who can carry a weapon. It is also a knife, and it's inflammation. So we sometimes can see it show up in our world like as in surgeries. Like, am I going to have a surgery? Yeah, it can show up like that too. All right, the very next day, after the 11th, by the way, we go Mars, critical degrees, 29 degrees in Capricorn. Capricorn is the long-term goals and ambitions. It's very serious energy. It's about the rules and the structure. It's about government and business and regulations and following the rules. And again, Mars would be like soldiers taking following orders. That would be Mars. Critical degrees normally end up being something extreme happening. That is normally what happens with the critical degrees. So we usually hear about something. There's usually something happening. If you back up on this chart a little bit and look at it, you see that I've got Mars on the 12th, then I've got Mars on the 13th. The very next day it goes to 0 degrees of Aquarius. And Mars is difficult in Aquarius, folks. So we're going to have it in Aquarius for like over 40 days. Mars is super impatient, super impulsive, super easy to anger, quick to anger, right? Irritated, like really irritated. Because Mars already all by itself wants freedom. It wants to be able to do what it wants to do, whenever the hell it wants to do it, wherever the hell it wants to do it. That's Mars, right? When it goes into Aquarius, the mixture of that energy, this is air. So it really impresses strongly on the mind. It really impresses strongly. And Aquarius is just like, my freedoms, damn it. Like, I will fight for my freedoms. Mars and Aquarius. It is very much going to just, it's an energy that whenever I see Mars and Aquarius, it's always like, okay, take a step back and count to 10. It's that kind of energy. So Aquarius energy squares by nature. It's going to automatically square the Scorpio and the Taurus energy in your chart, right? So let's back up a little bit. And this is just to be prepared for Aquarius season in general, because there's so much here, you see. So I've got it outlined in red as a group. That's Aquarius energy, group energy. It's also love something different, exciting, and new, you see. And it's impulsive. It sometimes doesn't think things through, and it's very rebellious energy. So what I have is the angles. The angles. Okay? Stress and tension. Aquarius squares Scorpio. Aquarius squares Taurus. You see, there's not a lot over here in Scorpio. Not a whole lot. Even the two Venuses, Sappho, is approaching a critical degree. And we're going to get to that because she's going to leave. She's going to get to the critical degree and then she's going to enter Saggy. We're going to get to that. The only other thing, unless you have something in your natal chart, the only other thing is Haumea. 2 degrees and 4 minutes, right? So we know that we've got Pluto over there sitting at 0. Pluto's not a fast mover, so I don't think it's especially strong, since it should be the minutes that square, that you really see it in your life. You see, Pluto is the undercurrents. It's what you deeply feel. And we typically don't recognize it, and we don't physically see it until we get closer by the minutes. Group energy. It's doing deep things within group energy. Deep reform and change for social services. Aquarius energy. I'll do a separate video on some of my thoughts, but Aquarius is, we think Uranus, and we know Uranus is in Taurus, and so I really think there's going to be some changes. All this Aquarius energy doesn't square just Scorpio, right? It squares Taurus too. And we have a lot in Taurus compared to Scorpio, right? If you look, we start off with Jupiter at 8. And again, you may have something in your chart in Taurus at lower degrees or in Scorpio at the lower degrees, right? Other than the Haumea over there. You might have your Sun, your Mercury. You could have anything there. So you would feel this. You would feel that that stress and that tension. Because fixed energy, man, when there's a square to fixed energy, right, it is difficult because it's things that we refuse to budge. We're like, I am not changing my mind about that. This is my value. I'm not swaying from that. And we'll dig our feet into the ground. We'll become very stubborn, right? Or we'll become, in Aquarius, we become quite arrogant and we won't change our thought. Like, this is it. It's just black and white, right? It can be just black and white in Aquarius energy, meaning it's just simple. This is the way it is, damn it. But the thing is that when we let go of that stuff, when we let go of the fixed ways, our fixed values, our fixed ideas, when we kind of release and we become a little bit more detached and not so attached. Taurus is attachment. Aquarius is detachment. You get it? So you see how it plays out when you look at the big picture, right? Because Scorpio over here is our shared values. So it's my attachments, Taurus, and then our attachments, Scorpio. You follow? Then Aquarius is very detached, right? And if it's not detached, that is the lesson of Aquarius energy. It says you need to be a little bit more detached, right? Because you need to survive if something no longer is with you, or if somebody is no longer with you. You can't just fall apart. You have to keep living. You have to go on. And so Aquarius energy is the expect the unexpected. It's get up on that surfboard and ride that wave, and you never know where the next wave is going to take you. But if you're willing, and you don't even have to do a good job, you just got to keep your nose and your lips above the water line. You could even be in the water and just holding on to that board, right? Because you can't stand on it. You haven't practiced. As long as you hold on to that board, keep the nose and lips above the water line, you'll eventually get taken to land. You'll eventually get washed up upon the shore somewhere. And that's just an example that I used to give all the time, to expect the unexpected, that it can be different. And that's the whole lesson of Aquarius energy. And so all these planets, Mars leaving Capricorn, 29 degrees on the 12th, right? Taking orders from the government, from the boss, from the general. And then the very next day, 0 degrees in Aquarius, which means it's conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. So this week, Mars and Pluto together, holy shit. Our physical bodies can actually feel amped up with the power, because Pluto gives deep, intense power, but meaningful. Like, I want to be involved in something deeply meaningful and transformative. And so we'll take action with that, because that's what Mars does. It says, let's take action with this. So for those of you who have something at 0 degrees, right? 0 degrees, 1 degrees of Scorpio, 0 degrees, 1 degrees of Taurus. That's what these red lines are for. This can be a tricky time. And we would have to just be cautious to understand, I'm going to have less patience, right? I'm going to really want to be alone. I'm going to really want to be like, okay, I need my space. I need to be doing my own thing. So this just gives you the heads up to plan ahead of time. Plan out time for just you. Mars likes to be physically challenged. So on whatever level that is, that's healthy for you, that works for you, Mars likes to be physically challenged. In Aquarius with Pluto, it may take serving, altruistic serving, service to the group. Maybe you literally begin volunteer work somewhere for somebody, which would be wonderful. And then, especially if it's something you've never done, you can see and feel the rewards of doing deeply meaningful work. It can also have something to do a bit with the psychology, because that's Scorpio, the psychology, my deep, intense emotions from the past. And the thing is, Haumea is here at 2 degrees. So Haumea is trying to heal. She is trying to change and to transform the wounds from the past, the vulnerabilities, the deep emotions. Haumea. She is a Hawaiian goddess of fertility and childbirth. It is about creating, birthing something. It's the unity of opposites, seeking the larger order in apparent randomness. The drive towards ultimate peace and harmony. This is feminine, healing, and creative energy in Scorpio. Scorpio is about the deep, intense wounds from the past, the relationships, the shared energy. So we think of the wounds from the past. We think of what it is, what do we share? With who do we share it? This can be property. This can be inheritances. We hear about people who have money problems. I've been getting a lot of folks actually commenting and messaging me about issues, money issues, and feeling as though, I think they feel like it's a curse. They didn't use that word, but what they're describing where they're feeling like it's just plagued me, like I can't escape it, like what the hell is this? So Haumea is here to try to assist with the healing of that, but she's a creative energy. So it's trying to bring about some sort of order in the randomness, like the software said. And that would likely mean something new. The thing is, during this time, especially this week with Mars here, Mars and Pluto together, we might feel it being a little bit on the disruptive side. Okay, so keep that in mind and just do the whole, I got to back up. I got to count to 10. I might need some time alone. I need to take care of myself. It's not somebody else's problem that I'm impatient. I have to learn to be a little bit more patient. I have to step back and realize I might be acting like a child. Mars has childlike ways. It's easy to anger, okay? And it always feels like it's behind schedule and that everybody around it, they're not going fast enough. Trust me, I know this energy really well. I know it really, really well. Frustrated and angry. Word of caution, you don't want to allow yourself to go there when it's Mars in Aquarius, because it ends up, there is the urge and there is the inclination for violence, because it just kind of just blows its lid. Okay, so just be smart, do a lot of counting, and know that you're not the only one going through this. We're all experiencing Mars and Aquarius, okay? And we all have Taurus and Scorpio energy somewhere in our chart, somewhere in our life, all right? So that is to explain the first part of the week. It's an uncomfortable T-square that's already there because Pluto is there. And then Mars comes along and triggers it. And then, well, you see Venus at 25, so she is eventually going to come along and trigger it. But she's not like Mars at all. So I think once we get Mars out of these first few degrees, we can breathe a little bit because it's not empowered by Pluto. We need for it to get past Pluto. You follow? Haumea, that's why I have her drawn there, because she's in a square. She's receiving a square from Pluto as it is right now, and receiving a square, a strong square, once Mars joins Pluto as well. All right. So this won't be forever. We just got to count. And it might be, it might feel like forever, but remember, change is guaranteed in astrology. And so there we go. The 16th, Venus enters Aquarius. This may help. Venus wants peace. She wants peace. She likes to get along. She's not about starting crap. Although, when she's in Aquarius, remember Venus is about desires. She's all about, what looks good, tastes good, smells good, feels good. This is Venus. She's all about the desires. So when you're dealing with the desire energy and you're dealing with Aquarius, exciting and new, the mixture is, Venus isn't just buying something. It can be love and lust and having a good time. You follow? Aquarius and Venus together. Something exciting and different. Something I've never done before. It's this very sudden energy. And normally the teaching is it's very short-lived. It's more like the whole one night stand type of energy. Keep that in mind, because guess what? Right, on the 14th, Mars in Aquarius, that was, Valentine's Day, right? So we're just keeping that in mind, all right? We also, on this same day, have Mercury squaring Uranus. So Mercury is news and information. Uranus is an authority figure. This would be Uranus in Taurus, because that's where Uranus is at. It's in Taurus until, I think, 2025. So 2 more years, or 1 more year. 2025? I'll have to double check. 2025? No, maybe 2020. Anyway, I forget how long it's been there. 2018, it's about 7 years in a sign. So yeah, that's about right, 2025. Mercury is squaring it. And Mercury, if we look over here, is in Aquarius. There she is. There's Mercury in Aquarius, which means she's going to get to 19 degrees. All right? So that means you got Mercury in Aquarius now squaring Uranus. So if it's Uranus, remember somebody who's in charge? In charge of what? The values. Your values. Who's the boss of your values? Who's the boss of the money? Who's the boss of the food? Think about that. Think about the macro. When we're at home and it's in our own world, well, you're the boss of your own money. You know what I'm saying? You better pay attention to what's going on in the bank account. So that would mean if there's an issue, then maybe you get a notice from the bank and someone's like, hey, we gotta add on these fees all of a sudden. Or, hey, maybe you messed up in the checkbook, or I'm sorry, your account. Now, I don't think anybody uses a checkbook anymore, but there might be something there. Right? It's stress and tension. It's Mercury. Mercury is news and information. It can also be an authority figure, like the Fed. You know, we think of Jerome Powell in charge of raising or lowering or keeping the same interest rates. That person is the man in charge when it comes to the financial systems, which, by the way, global financial systems is part of Aquarius because it's systems. In general, it's systems. So we think of monetary systems. We think of the shipping, right? We think of, my gosh, the ISS, the International Space Station. Like there's the shipping even, like to move goods to and from on the water, in airplanes. Like there's major systems in place, and those systems became obvious during the pandemic. For the first time, we were like, oh shit, I never thought about where that came from or how it got here. So there's a lot of stress and tension, and Taurus energy is the earth, but it's the money as well. So maybe there's a report about the money. Maybe there's a report saying, hey, things were, like the jobs report. We recently got, I think it was a jobs report, or maybe it was retail. I think it was both, actually, where they were saying, well, they're not going to lower interest rates or they're going to lower interest rates or something. It's all based on the retail sales. It's based on the jobs numbers, and so this is this T-square energy. My values and our values, okay? Taurus can be the food and the creature comforts. So you think anything you go to the store to buy, right? Think about it. Now we go to the 18th. And here we have the sun, who is an authority figure, somebody in charge, right? A lot of authority figure energy. This is the sun in Aquarius, which can also be the authority figure energy. Remember, it's about shocks and surprises, which is why I keep mentioning the Fed and the interest rates, right? They don't want to shock the system. I mean, they do, but it's a controlled shock, right? So I think people are saying they're not going to change the interest rates. They got to let them sit at a certain rate for a certain amount of time. They're not going to raise them. But all I know with Aquarius energy is you should expect something new. You follow? The word new and exciting and different is Aquarius. So if we got people looking at it and they're looking at history and they're saying, yeah, well, based on history, well, okay. For February, think new and different and exciting, okay? This is at 29 degrees, a critical degree on the 18th. Someone in authority, group energy. Remember, this can be the internet. Yeah, that can be the internet. It's electric, so it can be like, well, we think all the inventions, electric cars, we think your air conditioning, your HVAC, your anything you can think of that you use that help with the advancement of humanity. We think of the internet, we think of, computers, we think of, well, I'll say it. We think of AI. Dun, dun, dun. Right? Everybody's like, no. Yeah. So there's a square. Look at the big square to Sedna on this day. Sun gets to a critical degree, but Sedna's there at 29 degrees in Taurus, squaring it. Values and our money. Remember Sedna? Strong feminine energy. She's been wounded. She's been hurt. She's gone through some stuff. I happen to know there's a particular person's chart that has a significant, matter of fact, he was the previous president of the United States, and his ascendant is 29 degrees, Regulus energy. What's interesting is that if the sun is in Aquarius, which means opposite of his ascendant, and we know Sedna's here at 29, that creates a difficult T-square for him. He's going through a lot of difficult times, and his past is coming back to bite him in the ass. Pluto in Aquarius will retrograde back into Capricorn, folks. And anyway, it's the bell tolls when Pluto comes. So think of all the Aquarius keywords for that square. Think of airplanes, think of airlines, right? Think of any of the inventions and the supply chain and anyway, all those keywords that I mentioned. This is also group energy. So we belong to a group of some sort, maybe even online. These are the chats when you're in the chat room, right? Think of friends. And again, these aren't like your best buds. These are people where you have a common interest, okay? So stress and tension, sun's not going to stay there long though. Not at all. So it's not a major deal unless you got like a lot of things. At the same time, on this day, we have this sweet, powerful, feminine, strong, feminine fire trine. This is Persephone in Sagittarius with Pallas Athena in Sagittarius and Sappho in Sagittarius. Very strong energy. Let's look at that. We're going to go red. We know that we have, I got him up here. I said a fire trine. Well, because they're like at 0 and 1 degrees, right? It's really, if you look closely, Sappho's at 28 here, so she's going to be at 29. And Pallas is already at 2 degrees here. And this Persephone is already at 10. Look at that. That's already 10 degrees. But trining what? Fire. Trines Aries and it trines Leo energy. So for some of you, this can be really supportive. This is strong feminine energy. Sappho is the 2 females, okay? Pallas Athena, she's smart. She's the strategist. She's now in Saggy. Beliefs, truth, religion. Searching, seeking, traveling, right? Adventure energy, very confident energy. Sometimes goes a little over the top even, right? But strong feminine energy coming into play here. That's right. So on the 17th, Sappho would have been at 29 degrees on the 17th. So there's just like so much jam-packed into these 7 days of this week. A lot of critical degrees, a lot of extreme energy. Mars in Aquarius is extreme. A lot of stress and tension. You saw the big chart with the constant square between Aquarius and Taurus. And Mars kicks off the week at 29. These two are conjunct. The fiery Mars energy is conjunct from the 11th to the 24th. I would say this is an intense week. The sun on the 18th, right, at the critical degree, means that on the 19th, the very next day, the sun enters Pisces. Pisces season begins. This is a welcome because Pisces is a little bit calm. It's a little bit more laid back and relaxed, and it's more about creating, okay? When it's the sun going there, these can be people in charge, public figures even, musicians, people in the spotlight, right? So that's on the 19th when Pisces season begins, and so I'm grateful for that. Because we'll need it. We'll need something to take the edge off. And the sun going in the Pisces, it will definitely take us down a notch. Likely, possibly in our energy as well, because the sun is literally your battery, and Pisces is dreams and sleep. Pisces is like, hey man, I just want to chill and watch a movie. I just want to sit back and pretend and escape fantasy and sci-fi, maybe have something to drink, maybe do something else. Like Pisces is like, Kelgon, take me away. I just want to be somewhere else, right? So the sun being, this is how I express. If we're not sleeping, we may talk and express in a creative way. Great time to sit down and just, start creating. Start doing something that you've never done before and bring in some of those creative vibrations, that energy that can flow out of the hands or possibly the mouth, possibly in performing. I'm an actor on the stage. I'm performing. Okay, so we know for the States, it's the crazy year of political time where we're going to have a lot of commercials and hear a lot of talking and whatnot. And so politicians. I wanted to top this off. I did say that, top it off, because, Pisces is the wine. Jupiter and Neptune are the rulers of Pisces. It's very idealistic and dreamy energy and fantasy and sci-fi. Yeah. That energy over there with the three Venuses, the two Venuses, and then Pallas Athena and Persephone. Persephone feels like she's out of place here. Like she literally feels that way because she's down in Hades, right? But she's not in Hades anymore. Saggy can be freedom, seeking my freedom. So Persephone is now on this journey. Persephone's on a journey here. And what I love is Pallas Athena is really the strategist. She's really good with a map. Well, when you're on a journey, having someone with you who can read a map, let's just pretend we don't have, Google Maps, that can be really helpful. It can help you to navigate the journey. And then the Sappho, the two Venuses coming here, can also help because that Sappho energy is creative energy. And it's very creative energy towards other females. If it's really extreme, Sappho is known to, I think, be the lyricist where she can write tunes, write poems, and try to almost write maybe about other females. She is about desires because it's the two Venuses, so it's like a triple amount of desire energy, and that would be my caution. You know how it was when we had Venus going through Saggy? Venus can be a sweet tooth, and it can be like a lover of wine and drink and spirits and wanting to escape. So when you have the two Sapphos together, two Venuses, there might be a little bit of that where you're like, damn, I thought I got through this. So we're just, being aware of that, right? And the trine energy. So the world axis point is 0 degrees in Aries. Well, when we have 0 degrees of Aries, it truly is on the world stage. It truly is more about, we're hearing about events around the world. It's a global thing, possibly. And so seeing Aries at 0 and understanding individual rights, the appearance of my body, right? The freedoms of my body. And that trine to all this feminine energy that enters into Saggy. So remember, it can be spirituality and religions. It's about beliefs and philosophy on life, okay? Wisdom, right? And the greatest lesson I think Sagittarius energy can teach us is understanding that your beliefs, your religious beliefs, or your beliefs in general, whether they're even affiliated with a religion, you have to give others the right to believe what they want to believe. So I think that's the greatest lesson, especially during these crazy times that we're in, where people from, history of the separation of religions and the differences of religions and people literally killing one another in the name of religion. This goes so far back into all of our history. Let the lesson, the big lesson of Sagittarius, the biggest lesson it can teach you, Jupiter, the biggest lesson is that if you get the freedom, so does somebody else. And without judgment. That's the lesson, the big picture lesson with Saggy energy. Anything you have any questions about, put them in the comments below and continue conversations of things that I brought up. I love reading your responses. I love hearing about how this is affecting you in your life or where it's happening in your chart. And I can always put in my 2 cents. If something comes through for me to add on to you, I absolutely will. So thank you for your time, for all of you who are still here with me through these long-winded ass videos that I've been doing lately. Oh my God. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.